Bakersfield, California is the biggest city in Kern County. It's located just north of Los Angeles over the Grapevine. It has a population of 700,000 residents. Bakersfield was once called the country music capital of the West Coast. It's home to country singer Buck Owens and the musical group Korn. For the past several years, the city has been flooded with gangs, murders and other crimes. Some of the gangs include the Crips, Bloods, Sureños, Norteños, and various Asian gangs. But one of the most vicious and dangerous gang is a subset of the Crips known as the Country Boys Crips. The Country Boys, also known as Southside Crips, are a predominantly African American gang. They are one out of 3 Crip sets in Bakersfield. The other 2 sets are the West Side Crips and the East Side Crips. There are subsets within the Country Boys such as RC, Lotus and Watts, and Bradshaw Hustlers, to name a few. Their territory is from Cottonwood Road to Union Avenue and White Lane to East Bell Terrace. Their main color of choice is powder blue. They're involved in numerous crimes such as human and drug trafficking, robberies, theft, and shootings. Their allies are with the West Side. They are both at war with their main rivals, the East Side. The war with the East Side Crips has been going on for many years. It's been one of the ugliest and most violent wars in Bakersfield. On March 2, 2013, around 2:30 a.m., Bakersfield Police Department were called about a shooting on Highway 58. An officer arrived minutes later and found the victim in the car. His feet were in the driver's compartment and his upper body was halfway out of the passenger side door. He was pronounced deceased at the scene and appears to have been shot multiple times. Less than a mile away, officers found 14 9mm and 5.22 shell casings. When the car was processed, detectives determined the bullets traveled from the back to the front and from left to right. According to a pathologist, the victim was shot 3 times. One bullet hit his left arm, another hit his left thigh, and the third bullet penetrated the right lower back. All wounds would have been fatal since they hit the main arteries. The victim was identified as Kevin McMahon. While the detectives were investigating the accident, they learned that McMahon and a friend of his were at a Valero gas station at the corner of California and Union. They left a short time later, with McMahon driving and his friend on the passenger side. They got onto Highway 58, when a few minutes later the friend heard 5 gunshots and was struck once in the lower back. When the shooting stopped, he noticed McMahon was wounded, but the car was still moving, so he removed McMahon's foot off the pedal until the car stopped. He flagged down a car who happened to be one of his friends from high school. They saw that McMahon was mortally wounded and unconscious, so they only took the friend to the hospital. On July 28, 2013, around 3:07 a.m., Bakersfield's police department received a 911 call about a shooting and someone needed medical aid. The shooting happened at the 500 block of South Brown Street. 2 people were shot with non-life-threatening injuries. A male victim received a gunshot wound to the left buttocks. A female victim was shot in the back, leg, and foot. Officers located 5 .380 caliber shell casing and 3.45 shell casings. Detectives believed the victims returned fire but didn't have enough evidence to confirm it. After months of investigation, police were able to identify the person responsible for the shootings, and named Spencer Earl Rogers as the primary suspect. Rogers is a self-proclaimed country boy Crip, and has several gang tattoos confirming his affiliation. Detectives believe the 2 incidents committed by Rogers were to benefit and gain higher status within the gang. Detectives believe on the first occasion, Rogers targeted McMahon because he knew McMahon and his passenger were members of the East Side Crips. Officers were familiar with McMahon and the passenger. They confirmed McMahon was from the Spoonie G set and the passenger from the Stroller Boys set. On the second shooting, detectives believed Rogers targeted the victims at South Brown Street due to being in the East Side Crips territory and assumed the victim were members of the gang. On August 8, 2013, ATF raided a hotel where Rogers was staying and found a .380 handgun that matched the shell casings at the South Brown shooting. Rogers wasn't captured during the raid, and was on the run for months. However, on January 14, 2014, Rogers was finally arrested along with 22 other people in North Dakota following a large-scale investigation known as Operation Pipe Cleaner. He was extradited back to California to face murder charges. On June 25, 2015, with the amount of evidence and witness testimonies, Spencer Earl Rogers was found guilty and convicted of murder and several other crimes. As a result, he was sentenced to life without parole and is currently serving his time at Corcoran State Prison. As of today, the war in the city continues, and there appears to be little chance of it slowing down. Despite the efforts of the police to combat crime, the situation remains challenging, especially with the rise of a new generation of young and reckless kids. It seems that the cycle of violence and criminal activity persists, making it difficult to see change in the near future.